another in the blink of an eye. And you will double or triple your effectiveness in a very short time. Now, once we've gotten to free the knee of our trapped leg, then we come to the sixth and final skill. This is the skill of switching between the four dominant positions that we mentioned earlier. The three-quarter side position, the three-quarter mount position, the three-quarter side sit-out, and the reverse three-quarter side position. Okay? If we can get to these four positions, all that's required is to extract our entrapped foot, a relatively easy action. Okay? I'm going to put out a little belief on my part here. I believe if you had a room full of black belts and blue belts, and you took all the blue belts and started them in top half guard in one of those four dominant positions and put all the black belts on bottom, 90% of the blue belts would be able to successfully pass 90% of the black belts half guards from those dominant starting positions. That's how dominant they are. Okay, I cannot overstate just how dominant they are as passing positions. If you can get to those four positions, three-quarter side, three-quarter mount, three-quarter sit-out, and three-quarter reverse side, you're going to pass a lot of people's guards. Okay, so we have 6 skills designed to get us to those four positions and then to exploit them. The idea is that once you get to one of those positions, you can always access the other 3. And as a result, you can pass in 3 different directions. What are those 3 different directions? Well, anytime I'm in someone's half guard, the first and most common direction is to pass towards the same or near side that we're on. So for example, if I got to three-quarter side position, then from here, it wouldn't be a difficult thing for us to achieve a kick out and to pass to the near side of our opponent's body. That would be one direction. Another option would be to come up into three-quarter mount. And then from here, kick out straight into the mounted position. Go right up the middle. And another option might well be to pass across to the far side. Okay? So whenever I'm in someone's half guard, I have the option of passing to the near side, straight up the middle to the mounted position, and across to the far side. Which choice you make may well be a tactical choice on your part. In terms of point scoring potential, the best of all is to go straight up the middle to the mount, because then you will get 3 points for passing your opponent's guard, plus 4 points for mounting. That's a 7-point pass. When you go to the side, you score less points, 3 on both sides. However, you do have more stability at the end of the pass. So for example, if I pass directly to mount, there is a risk that having achieved the mounted position, Giancarlo could time a bridge and take me over and I score nothing. As opposed to a situation where I come out to the side and Giancarlo goes to a bridge, and it's so much more difficult when I'm across sides and mounted. So what I'll do is I'll make a tactical decision here. Am I looking to maximize points? In which case I'm going to be inclined to go more towards the mount. Or if I'm inclined to maximize tactical safety, I'm worried the guy's a strong or explosive athlete on bottom, I might be more inclined to pass to the side. That's an individual choice on your part. It's nice to have the different options though. So 3 directions of passing: far side, near side, and straight up the middle to the mount. So what have we got at this point? We've got an essential overview of our half guard passing system. And you can see that it's built around attaining 4 truly dominant passing positions: three-quarter side, three-quarter mount, three-quarter sit-out, and three-quarter reverse side. If you can get to one of those positions, you can always access the other 3. Those 4 positions will enable you to pass in 3 different directions: near side, straight up the middle to the mount, and far side. And what you're going to need are 6 skills which enable you to get to those 4 positions and to exploit them. The entire rest of this video will simply be the fleshing out of the details you need to get that simple overview to work in your favor. I promise you, if you invest time learning in those 6 essential skills, and spend training time in those 4 dominant positions and learn to exploit all 3 directions of passing, you will pass a lot of people's guards who previously you couldn't pass. This is one of the absolute most effective all-round methods of passing someone's guard, both gi, no gi, and even in the sport of mixed martial arts or fighting. Okay, it is absolutely essential for your development as a jiu-jitsu athlete that you invest the time required to master this critical part of the game. Now, we've clearly stated our case with half guard passing. We need to attain 4 dominant passing positions, and we're going to need 6 essential skills to get us into those 4 dominant positions and then to exploit them. The first of those essential skills is the skill of forcing our way to the half guard. You don't just start in half guard, okay? You start off in a neutral position, and from there you've got to work your way to a half guard chest-to-chest situation. So let's look at how this might occur. We're going to start off in situations where our opponent is seated or supine and force our way to half guard. The first method we're going to look at is arguably the most effective in the sport of jiu-jitsu, and this is the use of the split squat, or as it's often referred to, a headquarters position. Okay? So we're going to start off with Giancarlo in a seated guard situation. So we're standing over our opponent, he's in seated guard. First, when I go to approach my opponent here, I've got to be a little circumspect in how I do it. I can't be naive and just approach Giancarlo square in a position where he can easily get a hold of my legs, knock me backwards, do all kinds of things from here. So we want to approach in a staggered stance on our training partner's center line, just like so. Okay. My intention is to get my foot inside my opponent's legs. Now that may not always be easy because often they will close their feet close together and make that hard for us. Okay. In addition, they have a certain kind of stance, which is usually bringing their chest forward over their knees. Okay. And this can make it difficult for me to move my opponent around. So the first thing I want to be able to do is put his shoulders behind his own hips. Why? What's the big deal there? Make a strong body, Giancarlo. When I push Giancarlo's shoulders behind his hips, make your body strong, look what happens to his feet. His feet become light. Okay? When his body comes forward, it's very, very hard for me to move his legs. But when I start pushing his body back so that only his buttocks are on the floor, now there's very little friction with the mat. And I can turn the man quite easily. Okay? But when his body weight is forward, it's very hard for me to move him. So my whole thing is to use my lapel grip to push on the upper body, make a strong body. Now, when the legs become light, that's what we're looking for. I get a pant grip on the outside and I run Giancarlo in a circle. And as a result, we can sit down into this position here, the split squat. Okay? Now I have a situation where my knee pins my opponent's leg down. The important thing for me is to bring knee and elbow together. If I don't, Giancarlo can easily put in a knee shield. So I want knee and elbow close together, like so. I want my shoulder inside his knee. So he tries to bring in a knee shield. It's there, blocking. If my shoulder is too high and the elbow is too high, we run into problems with knee shield. Don't worry, I'll show you how to deal with that later. But ideally, I should shut out the knee shield with good shoulder position and good elbow position. Giancarlo will want to hook a reverse de la Riva in here. So if that should happen, we put our hand on the knee and we just straighten out our leg and remove the hook. Okay. Now from this position, you can expect a lot of framing, a lot of resistance. When we see this, just spin around a little. I want to get my knee in front of his knee. Okay. So as he holds me off, pushing, look how I just take my knee and I clip his knee and sit down. Now I take my elbow over his hip. And now we're in half guard. From here, my head comes forward. He goes to push us off and we're locked in place and ready to play. You've just achieved the half guard position you were looking for. So let's have a look at that again. We have an opponent and a seated butterfly guard in front of us. I approach on my training partner's center line with one leg forward and one leg back. I fight my hands in and get my first grip. Now, level change and push. I get a hold of my training partner's legs and I run in a circle and force my opponent's leg down. If he gets a de la Riva hook, reverse de la Riva, we push, straighten, and lock up. Look how I turn my hand, palm up, and join elbow and knee, shoulder forward. When he tries to put in a knee shield, it won't be easy. When he goes to frame and push, look how I just take my knee in front of his knee. I close my knee and I push his knee inside, and we're in half guard. Okay? Let's look at the same technique on a supine opponent. So now he's lying on his back. Very often in situations like this, he'll hook in De La Riva guard, okay, and hook like so. Whenever we see this kind of thing going on, our first thing is always to free our head. We don't want him pulling our head down below our hips and causing problems. So when he gets a strong grip, my first thing is to lower my level and pop his grip off. The next big thing is to get my hand on my training partner's lapel, hand on the pant grip, and step back and away. And as a result, I can stuff the foot. You have a choice between pant grip or shin. Either way, we stuff it. Now from here, we step across the body and find ourselves once again in this good attacking position. He's probably going to lock in a De La Riva hook. So we put the hand on the knee, straighten, and block. As he goes to frame, look how again, the battle is between my knee and his knee. I put my knee in front, and as he push, we clip and cover. And we're in half guard. So once again, forcing half guard on a supine opponent. He goes in, goes De La Riva. First, level change down with the hips. If my hips are high and my head is low, nothing but bad things happen. Hips low, head high, pop the grip off. Now from here I go lapel, I step back. I never try to step, with strong leg, Jim. I never try to step over and push. I step back and push. Now from here, everything goes to the side. I take out the reverse De La Riva hook and block. Elbow in, shoulder in. He frames, look how I take my knee in front of his knee, block, and half guard. So these are some simple and effective ways to force the half guard using this very useful split squat or head quarters position against a seated opponent or a supine opponent. Now, we just looked at the split squat or head quarters position as one of the very best ways to force our way into a half guard. Let's look now at another great candidate for an excellent method of forcing your way into half guard, which is especially good when you have a supine opponent, someone who's lying down in front of you. I don't recommend this one so much on a seated opponent. Of course, you can always force them into a supine position, but whenever someone's lying down, this is